right, everybody. I'm not going to take a lot of time listening to the whole music thing play up and all of that. So I am very quickly going to talk about the autopsy with Suzanne Morphew. And it's a little bit disheartening because a lot of people are doing it as an afterthought. And I think she deserves more than that. Not just an afterthought, but the whole enchilada, because the truth of the matter is, we were right. And we were right nearly down to, the method of murder. So it's a bit chilling to go back and remember and think about that time. Barry was kind of skulking about. He was skulking about on YouTube, going into people's YouTube channels while we were discussing the circumstances of her going missing and whatnot. Even during the preliminary hearing, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation agent was up on the stand testifying as he began to talk about one of our lives in our channel when we were talking about Barry. So it is absolutely chilling that we were so close, that we were so right, So, well, the chipmunks, in fact, Abbey Road, the chipmunks have a lot to do with the murder of Suzanne Morphew, believe it or not. And I guess I should have played that opener, but frankly, I don't, it doesn't feel like a celebration. It just feels really, really sad and horribly, horribly tragic. And I did have a thought earlier. I hope his two girls are safe and not in harm's way. And I think I'll leave it at that. And if I were Iris Eaton, I would be measured and careful about how I presented things and how I talked about this, because it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand the circumstances of what happened to Suzanne Morphew 4 years ago on Mother's Day of all days in 2020. So the autopsy is back. She was actually located 45 miles south of her home, south of Maysville, Colorado. She was found May the 10th, she was reported missing May the 10th, 2020, 49 years old at the time that she went missing. And she was found a couple of years later south of town in Maysville. Not Maysville, in Saguache County, in a very chillingly flat, easily accessible field. Very close to town, like right near, like within blocks of being right in the middle of town. This is a bad place. This is a kind of a no man's land. The people there are pretty rough, I think it'd be safe to say. And they frequently find dead bodies in this area. So it's not very nice people, or at least it's it's kind of like good dumping grounds, right? So I think about this case with with Suzanne Morphew and Barry Morphew. I think about this case every day when we're talking about Sebastian Rogers, because it's so similar that Barry, he intentionally, I believe this man is a outdoorsman, a hunter, a tracker. He's an apex predator. And he caused everyone to look north. He did it. I think it was all calculated. On hindsight now, I think it was calculated. I kept thinking to myself, why is he so dumb? Why is he so stupid to throw the bicycle out allegedly, and then make it make it very public and aware that he headed up, to Denver, and his behavior was so strange when he was in Denver. He was seen on hotel cameras changing his clothes 4 times in one day, and stopped at 5 different trash cans. I mean, the man was running around town with a sign blinking over his head saying, look at me, notice me, I'm Barry Morphew, look at me, everybody look at me. I thought, why is he so dumb? Why would he do that? And everybody said, oh, he buried her there working at the wall. He buried her. And none of that was true. The truth is that he allegedly, someone took her body south, only about 45 minutes south of where she lived, dropped her in just a wide open, flat field, and then headed north. All eyes on Barry going north. In fact, there was only one person on YouTube, one, who was not looking northeast. You know who it was? The Reverend. That's right. She talked about the tree, the strange, unusual tree. She described it to a T. I'm talking about the Reverend Donna Serafina. So not only did she get it right, hit the nail right squarely on the head with JJ and Tylee, she did with Suzanne Morphew as well. It's really fascinating. It's so thank you, Donna, Reverend Donna Serafina. Thank you. So when I say that this is interesting, that the chipmunks had something to do with this, well, because we now have the autopsy back, and they released the information about 7-8 hours ago. Well, now it's probably about 9 hours ago. And she was in fact murdered. That's right. Our Suzanne was murdered. And in what way was she murdered? Well, it would seem that she had high doses of butorphanol, azaparone, and medetamine. Now, these are all heavy sedatives that Barry Morphew had in his garage. Oh, what? Why? Why would Barry Morphew be allowed to have azaparone and medetamine in his garage? Well, he got it from his little veterinarian buddies in Indiana and just brought it with him. And he needed to shoot the little chipmunks. Remember? You remember that nonsense on Critical Case Channel? Oh, maybe Barry, he's just a conservationist. And he's picking off the little chipmunks with the tranquilizer darts. And then when the little deers roll up and go to sleep, then he carries them up into the mountain and rehomes them into a new environment. Because that's just the kind of guy Barry is. It's incredible. The other medication, butorphanol. It's a synthetic opiate. It is put in, some of you guys may know it by the name Stadol. It's like a migraine pain management. And we know that she was facing some cancer treatments again, and she was having a lot of pain. And one of her prescribed medications apparently was butorphanol. And she, in fact, had picked up her prescriptions that day. And those prescriptions were never found. So I got a pretty dark imagination on this. I'm pretty haunted. But I think the fact that we all talked about it, we all said it. They found the tranquilizer dart cap in the dryer, along with Macy's sheets and Barry's shorts in the dryer. Why? Why is that, Barry? Still, that's one of those facts that makes my blood run cold. Why in the world were your shorts and your daughter's sheets in the dryer together and nothing else? Nothing else was in the dryer. Oh, and the bed? Macy's bed was completely stripped of all sheets. So it sort of leads the imagination to, oh, Barry's shorts were in the bed. It was just all picked up, one armload and thrown in the wash machine, right? Why did Suzanne have to die? Was there a reason? Was there information that needed to be protected? There were a lot of people that said he used the tranquilizer dart that during the preliminary, they had them, running around the big house on the outside, chasing one another around, and in truth, it was really just like cell signal drift, right? But they were right. They were right. Barry admitted it. Barry himself said, oh yeah, I used that to, shoot the chipmunks, or I used that to shoot the elk or the deer. And then while they're laying there asleep, then I saw off the racks. You cruel bastard. A lot of sport in that, isn't it? It's incredible, really. It just defies, you can't even let your brain go to what her final minutes must have been like. This person that she'd known since she was a child, this person that was supposed to protect her and at the very least keep her safe, right? Allegedly. I mean, what in the hell happened here? Was it, load her up on opiates so she's knocked out cold, and then when you drive down 45 minutes south of Maysville, you tell her, get out and run? Is that what is that? Was it human hunting? Go. Maybe you'll make it, Suzanne. Maybe you'll have a chance of survival. Run for your life. And then hit her with a dart. Oh, by the way, left out one little bit of information. This tranquilizer, the chemicals, the medication that was used in the darts, they were for bears. Bears. Now, of course, Iris Eaton, the lovely flower, she's come out, she's done her statement. The past 4 years, the Morphews have agonized over Suzanne's disappearance. This included not only the pain of the loss of their wife and mother, but also the false accusations and prosecution of Barry Morphew. The Morphews had prayed the authorities would remove their blinders and not only find Suzanne, but find the suspect responsible for her murder and disappearance. However, the Morphews are left with more questions than answers and a lack of justice for Suzanne, the family, and the community. And today, Iris, the Morphews have information. That little container of tranquilizer, animal tranquilizer, enough for a bear, enough to anesthetize a bear. Yeah. Oh, Bear brought it from Indiana, didn't he? And there was one cartridge used and missing that he claimed he used on the deer. It's fairly horrifying. Included in this area where there had been a shallow grave, there's also a bullet. They did, in fact, collect a bullet. In the bone remains fragments as well as her mountain biking clothes. She had on a little zipper hoodie that said Crested Butte. She had on a little like skirt for biking, and then a tank top, not turquoise. And all of that was found in this particular area, including one bullet. They also found her medication port that was used to administer her chemotherapy for her cancer drugs. And so the autopsy results do confirm that she did, in fact, put her mountain biking clothes on. And she was either preparing to go on her morning ride, or I guess someone came into her house and stole her. I've been there. Their house was not one of those houses you would just stumble upon. You kind of had to know it was there. It's hard to find, and you pass a whole lot of houses before you would have ever gotten to Suzanne's house. So pardon me if I'm skeptical, but no one just stumbled upon her house and said, hey, I got an idea. Let's take your bicycle, let's throw it down the little hill, and let's fill your body full of opiate and bear tranquilizer and drive 45 minutes south to make you run through an open field and then pick you off with a gun. That sounds like a great thing to do to a stranger. It's really horrendous, really. Suzanne, her remains were found in a very shallow grave in a dry desert. It was sagebrush and natural grasses. It's like the prairie. Her remains were not in the mountainous, rocky, dangerous region that no man could reach but Barry Morphew. Not by a long shot. In fact, if you look back at my channel, you'll see where I did a video about one of the shows that Barry Morphew listened to. It seems that Barry Morphew enjoys true crime documentaries. And right before Suzanne went missing, he watched a show on a young woman out, I believe it was in Arizona, or maybe New Mexico, Arizona. And in my video, I put up the photographs where Suzanne was found and where this young woman in Arizona, where her body was found. Identical locations. Identical. He knew, allegedly, he knew that everybody would be thinking mountains, mine shafts, crevices, rivers. And in the end, all he did was just a easy little drive south, make a run for it, honey. And she laid down in the middle of the desert and went to sleep. I think the girls, I think there'll be a great deal of soul searching for those two girls. And I hope that they will reach out to Suzanne's sister and brother and try to mend those family relationships, because that was the true connection. To get away from people in the family that are manipulating them, and make healing and happiness the primary goals in their lives for the next decade. Scott Reich suggested that the prosecutors would now be incredibly conscientious and diligent in putting together their case, and that they will not make a move to make an arrest until they are ready. They believe they have their case ready to go to court. So not to look for a fast arrest. It's not happening this way. They're going to take their time. They're going to make sure that they get it right. It's important to note that investigators never found a single trace of blood near or in the Morphew home or in any of the family vehicles. But why would they? If you used a nose spray opiate combined with bare anesthesia, would there be any reason for blood? Hell, there wouldn't even be a fight. Investigators did find partial DNA profile in Suzanne Morphew's glove box, and it matched a couple of profiles in sexual assault cases. It wasn't a match. They had some consistencies. Some assault cases coming out of Chicago, Phoenix, and Tempe, Arizona. These were supposedly unknown male DNA, and it was all over the bike grips, handlebars, and bike seat. But if you can remember, there's video, body cam of the police where Barry Morphew's rubbing his hands all over Suzanne's bike that they have just pulled out of the ravine. So don't let the red herring of the DNA, get you confused. There's not been, so about 7 months ago, they collected the bones and whatnot, but also the bike clothes. There is no word on whether they tested the bicycle clothes that were found at the shallow grave, if they tested that for DNA. But I do know they did take a shirt that was found in the river. They did send that for DNA testing. So just using that as a, kind of a yardstick, I'm pretty sure they probably are testing Suzanne's biking clothes that were found at the scene. I'm pretty sure they are probably doing the testing on the clothes, would be my guess. But we don't need to do that, right? So the authorities will not provide the Morphews any information regarding whether they have performed any testing on the bullet that was collected among Suzanne's remains. Was it originally in Suzanne's body? The authorities offered the victims, Barry, I'm sorry, Barry, you're no victim. No. Let me restate that. The authorities have offered the victims, Mallory and Macy, the option to retrieve Suzanne's remains, but they don't want them. They don't want the remains. They want the suspect apprehended, and then they'll accept the remains of their mother because they think that the body is the most important piece of evidence in the prosecution. And I would agree with the girls on that. Text messages from Suzanne and Barry suggest that both were having affairs. 4 days before her disappearance, she sent Barry a text saying, "I am done, and I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what you've been doing for years. I just want out of this thing in a civil manner." And there's never been any other suspects nor any other arrests. The charges against Barry Morphew were dismissed without prejudice in a pretty sketchy manner. The prosecutors, it was like watching a bunch of T-ballers playing against the, Atlanta Braves. And so it's really going to be very interesting to see how this thing moves forward. The great thing is, even though the integrity of the investigation is, it's destroyed. There is no integrity in this investigation. It was so badly bungled. You can't even, I don't want to even rehash it because it just is infuriating. But so many people demanded that Suzanne be taken off of the domestic violence rolls. And thankfully, those people in charge of those organizations refused to do that, thankfully. And now, at least now, today, those of us that this case was really important to us for personal reasons or not, for the family of Suzanne Morphew that loved her, today the answer is clear. She is not a gone girl. She did not abandon her daughters to go live it up in Portugal or Belize. She wasn't even abducted by a stranger. Today, the facts are out there. And Macy and Mallory are going to have to grapple with this, and they're going to have to do a lot of soul searching. But the truth is out there. The very thing that killed Suzanne Morphew is exactly what Barry himself said he brought with him from Indiana, and he used to shoot a couple of deer and saw off their antlers. The cap on the tranquilizer gun was in the dryer with the sheets off of Mallory's bed, or Macy's bed. And those are now the facts. It wasn't a stranger, and she wasn't wearing all turquoise. Barry lured everyone northeast. Everyone. He had a blinking neon sign all over him as he raced from one trash can to another, as he changed his clothes over and over, behaved in the most suspicious, unusual way right in front of notable cameras. And her body was south all along. And it's really devastating. It's really devastating. Well, they didn't let him walk. The prosecution made a damn disaster out of the entire case. A disaster. But make no mistake about it. This is so important. This day is so important because there is no more. Maybe a stranger got her. That is over. That is over. She died from the very substances that Barry Morphew himself admitted to bringing with him from Indiana. Martin, am I wrong? Yes, his shorts. Yes, his shorts were in the dryer with the sheets off the bed. That is correct. It is a it is a that autopsy is devastating for Barry Morphew. Make no mistake about it. It's devastating for him. So, Martin, I don't know where this thing goes from now. I don't know what I expected from the autopsy. I, I don't know. I guess I thought that it was going to be inconclusive, right? I guess I thought it was going to be can't tell anything, degradation of the tissue. And I guess that's what I was expecting. They got him. They've got him. Bigger in Dallas, they've got him. Me too, Julie. Me too. Me too. Yeah, and the truth is Nicole is right. Nicole is right. I would be willing to bet that the tears that would allegedly be falling tonight out of old Bear's eyes are probably not for the results of the autopsy, but are probably for that lost $15 million. That would be my guess. The bigger regret will be, damn, now I'm not going to win my lawsuit. Damn, I wanted my $15 million. I worked hard for that $15 million. That's my guess. Miss Criminal Contemplation, really that was the first place that my mind went after it sunk in. Holy shit. The autopsy shows he died by bear tranquilizer, the crap that Barry himself brought from Indiana with himself, that he told investigators that he used. And so I was sitting with that for a while, thinking about that and going, holy crap, this is remarkable. And then I thought about the daughters. And I thought, how long is it going to take? How long will it take for it to slowly, the realization to slowly begin to seep in, and for them to really begin to recognize what they're dealing with? And that was why at the beginning of this live, I said, I hope they're in a safe location. I hope they're with people that will protect them and help them, because I think it's going to be, I think when they begin to realize what this autopsy really means, I don't know what you do with that as a daughter. It's a terrible case. It's a terrible case. I wonder if the camper is hitched up and ready to go. You know it is, Martian Planet. You know it is. In her bones. Absolutely, Moonlight View. There it was. The whole story was right there. And I think Martin and AK, there was even a period of time where we were all kind of envisioning, maybe she was laying out there. I don't think I don't believe that she was sunbathing. I think that was an old picture, and I don't want to speak for other people, but I'm not sure that she was sunbathing as we originally thought, but we all had this thought, what did he do? Like, did he shoot her with the tranquilizer gun while she's sunbathing? Was he literally like running, chasing her as she's running around the house trying to get away from him? Like, what actually happened? And now here we are, my God, how many years later? And we still don't know exactly what happened, but God dang, we were so close. It's so close to being what really killed her, according to the autopsy. It's really sad. Grace water, I mean, he wouldn't have to do that, right? And the reason that I say he wouldn't have to do that is this. The medication, the opiate, it's a like a nasal crom. It's just a nose spray, like a little squirt you put up each nostril and you give it a squirt, right? And you breathe it in, and then the opiate is absorbed through your nasal passages rather than your stomach. So a couple of squirts through her nose and she would have been knocked out cold. She would have still been breathing. A few more squirts up her nose and she wouldn't have moved for hours and hours. Might even have stopped breathing. But somehow I don't think that's exactly it. I really have an image of her running in Saguache County trying to run away. I think he told her to get out and run, go give it a try, see if she could live. Allegedly, whoever killed her. Oh, sure, Julie. I would be willing to bet they have somebody on him everywhere he goes. Agreed, Cinnamon Hot Hot. There's got to be an enormous amount of denial, because how else do you just manage? I mean, I don't know how they. No, I think the denial is complete. I think there's a bit of delusional thought there protecting them. It's too horrible. The reality is it's too horrible. Just the autopsy alone, nothing else. Not even asking yourself, who's the person that did this to my mom? They don't even have to ask themselves that question. It's such a horrible death. It's horrible to imagine someone hated your mother enough to pump her full of bare anesthesia. It's horrible. And it's not accidental. You don't accidentally get bare tranquilizer in your butt. You know what I mean? It's not an accidental kind of problem. This is a worst case scenario for those two girls and for Suzanne's family. This is a worst case scenario. It's so sad. And it is a monster that would do this. A monster. The prosecutor's office, Lady of Angels, is a mess. It is a mess. They're all in danger of losing their licenses. They've all got lawsuits against them. Iris Eaton is running around suing anyone that says Barry Morphew is, ugly. It is a mess. That is all. It is a mess. Someone in Colorado living there in Salida told me I'm embarrassed to tell people I live in Salida because of this Linda Stanley debacle. And it wasn't just Linda Stanley. Don't forget that. They're all in trouble. They're all under the gun. It was a mess. It's terrible. And the truth is, the people, the real victims here, the people who will now have to live with this clown show, Chaffee County prosecutor clown show, is Macy and Mallory. They're the ones that live with this for the rest of their lives. There's nothing clean cut about this. It's sad. It's devastating. So I don't know, Lady of Angels. I don't know what they do. I don't know if they decide to get a special prosecutor to come in and do this. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. The inheritance brought Suzanne nothing but tragedy when it should have been a wonderful gift. Instead, it was the end of her. Agreed. But I think there's an awful lot of people that will tell you that inheritance can rip families to pieces. And that's facts. Oh, absolutely, Nicole. Yeah, agreed. I believe the phone GPS patterns show that he was chasing her. I don't know. I'm a little skeptical of that. She did go and pick her medication up right before this weird pattern of running about the house. Body, it said that she was intoxicated with her migraine medicine. So that is another word for she was damn near overdosed with it. So she wasn't just taking her therapeutic dose. She had more of it, which makes me wonder if the killer gave her additional dosing. It's a nasal spray. It's really easy to overdose someone with a nasal spray. So in the autopsy, somebody just came in and said that she wanted the autopsy remains repeated. The Chaffee County medical examiner determined that Suzanne Morphew died by homicide, and that it was by undetermined means with a setting of butorphanol, azaparone, and medetomidine intoxication. One of these medications is a human medication. It is an opiate that is in aerosol form that you stick up your nose like you would like a nasal crom inhaler. And it is used for migraine or other pain. And we know she was on a pain management regimen, but for the cancer. And so she had that. She had high doses of that in her body. But more important was high doses of azaparone and medetomidine. It's hard to say. Medetomidine. And those two drugs are, brace yourself, Nancy. Those are bear tranquilizers. That's right. Anesthesia for bears. And Barry admitted to bringing them from Indiana, where he had some veterinarians that had provided it for him. And he did tell the investigators that that he had used it on a couple of deer or elk where right there at his house. And once they fell down, he went out there and sawed their racks off. Have you ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of a conservationist, a hunter, saw a rack off of a deer or an elk? Have you ever heard of that?
I've never heard of anybody doing it to collect antlers.
My husband is outdoorsman since he could walk. He said he's never heard of that, ever. It's nonsense. It's nonsense, Barry Morphew. Nonsense. I'm so angry. So angry. Yeah, and look, there's a lot wrong with sawing the rack off of a deer. It could kill them if they're in rut. The other deer are going to kill them. They don't have any way of protecting themselves, right? That's the least of the monstrous actions. That is like a stub toe compared to cutting someone's head off, right? But it just goes to show you what a slime Barry is. It's so slimy and weak and gross. Now, did he really do it? And that's what my husband's saying right now. The point is, he didn't do it. It's not something that a hunter would do. You just wouldn't do it. It was his excuse for why one of the cartridges in the tranquilizer pack, I believe there were 4 or 5 supposed to be in the pack, and one of them had been used. And I think that was his excuse for why the one was missing. Now we know where it was. It was in Suzanne. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. And Jeff, you're no better, Buster Brown. You're a weakling, and you failed her, and she trusted you. And you acted like a little coward. It's a terrible story. It's really terrible. Such a high level of sociopathy. For him to have a raccoon as a pet. And then when it finally gets grown and he can get good money for the pelt, he kills his pet. He killed his own pet for the money. And that was when he was in, high school? Junior high? He also broke the tranquilizer gun and handed it over to the investigators with impunity. Oh, here, look, here's a tranquilizer gun, doesn't work. See there? They are going to say cock-a-doodle-doo all over your head, Barry. Oh, yeah, he was completely scared of his wife and his children and losing his family. Yes. He knew damn well, Jeff Libler, of all the people, knew damn well who the hell Barry Morphew was. They all went to high school together. The stories were out there about Barry. Hell, Barry's trying to beat him up on the damn golf course when they were in high school. Jeff Libler knew that Barry Morphew was dangerous. He knew he was. And when she went missing, did he call the cops? Did he call and say, hey, y'all probably ought to know she was planning on leaving his ass? Y'all might want to think about that. I hear she's missing. Did he do that? No. He covered all of his tracks. He destroyed evidence. I hope the investigators drag his ass back in for questioning. I'm mad, y'all. I am really angry about this. Exactly, Diane. Get ready for Bubba Boy. That's right, Moonlight. The antler lamps and chandeliers are big dollars. Yeah, he used to like to go up to Wyoming. He'd go out in the woods and pick up, antlers that had been shed and whatnot. But he didn't shoot those deer and then saw their damn racks off. He didn't do that. He didn't do it. It was a lie. He didn't do it. So, yeah, I'm so angry. I'm really sad, and it's just so yucky. It's just, she didn't have any, she was never going to get away from him. He was never going to let her go, ever. Never. The only hope that she had of surviving was to just stay with him and put up with bullshit. That's the only chance that she had. It's terrible. It's really terrible. All right. Well, anyway, so the truth is out there. Today's a big day. No, Susie Q. Scott Reich thinks that it will be a while before there is another arrest. That because of the debacle, because the case was so badly handled, and it's just the Chaffee County clown show, and he thinks because of that, whomever the prosecutor is, they will be dotting every I, crossing every T. They will be triple checking and quadruple checking. And the next time this thing goes into a court of law, it's going to stick. That is, according to Scott Reich, who is a criminal defense attorney in Colorado. He knows a lot of these people that are players in this drama. So, yeah, it's just the one thing I did not expect to hear, of all the things that we could have heard from this autopsy, the one thing I did not expect to hear was animal tranquilizer killed Suzanne. I didn't expect that. I just didn't expect it. And yet, here we are. It's a done deal now. Barry and Iris are dead flat broke. Good. Things are going to be looking very skinny, Martin. I agree with you. That's the one thing that can bring a smile to your face, right? Scott is usually right. That is exactly right. He usually is right. He has the girls' money, so they have to go along with him. Yeah, I would be willing to bet that a great amount of that money is gone. Well, for one thing, he had to pay Iris Eton, right? You think she's working for free? Did Reverend Donna say that detail? No, I believe Reverend Donna, I believe she said that it was choking in the bathroom. Do I have that right, you guys? But what I think is so incredibly, impressive about Donna Serafina and this case, in the same exact way that she was able to describe the details of the location with JJ and Tylee, she did it with Suzanne too. Exactly. It's so crazy. I am a non-believer. I'm just going to put that out there. I am not a believer in this psychic phenomenon stuff. Okay. I don't think that we can turn voice boxes on and dead people from beyond can tell us who killed who. I don't believe in that. I'm highly skeptical. But I am faced with some realities from Donna Serafina that I can't explain. I can't explain it. I don't know. How the hell? Somebody tell me how the hell she described that damn tree. Because that tree was unlike any other tree that you would ever see in that area of the country. Who in the hell would say in the middle of the highest mountains in the United States of America, Suzanne was going to be found on a flat desert with this lopsided tree nearby? Who? Reverend Donna Serafina said it. That's who. It's crazy. It's really crazy. So if you guys haven't, if one of the mods could get her link to her channel, she definitely, there's something going on with her. She can do something because it was so extraordinary the way she described JJ's, the way he was buried, the various layers of items is incredible. It wasn't a guess. And then it damn sure was just mind-blowing how she said, oh my God, they're cutting her up. She said this while she's doing the reading, while she's locked into energy source. She stopped. She said, oh my God, they're cutting her up. And then there was another part. She said they're eating her left leg. Talking about Tylee. So imagine finding them in the condition, and then all of us that had way back a year before in December in Donna Serafina's channel, we had listened to her doing this live reading. Do you guys remember that? And the minute that she said, oh my God, they are eating her left leg. The minute that she said that, you know what I said? I said, this is bullshit. I said it out loud. I said, this is bullshit. This lady is crazy. This is clickbait. This is an abomination. This is sacrilegious. I am not listening to this. And I turned it off. I thought, God, how does anybody let their mind go to that? They cut this little girl up. What? Are you crazy? And I will never forget the wave of just incredulity when they found the bodies and they started describing Tylee. And I thought to myself, holy shit, that lady on YouTube knew. She was right. And I was freaked out, scared me even. I couldn't believe it. I even thought to myself, was she there? Like, was she a part of it? Did she see it? Well, no. I mean, now she's done exactly the same thing with Suzanne. No, this one woman, you're going to tell me this one middle-aged woman is running around the United States of America watching people get killed? That's silly. No, she's not. She definitely she has gifts. I'm convinced of it. She hasn't been wrong on the cases that I have watched. Yeah, she's pretty damn incredible. Right down to JJ's pajamas, yes. And then we got that photograph. Do you remember Miss Criminal Contemplation? Oh my God, when I saw that photograph, I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. I do believe, yes, I do believe in Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian. I'm baptized. Yes, I'm a total believer. But I don't buy into the psychic stuff. And, the Bible warns against, you open the door, you're letting something in. So I just I haven't played with Ouija boards, and I'm just respectful of it, right? I want to just say, when the time comes, it's my turn to pass over, then all the answers will be revealed, right? But whatever Donna Serafina can do, she definitely got a gift. She's got a connection. There's some connection. She can do this. She is doing it. I'm telling y'all, she is doing it. It's amazing. And the Gabby Petito case, yes. Let's see. Zelda, I'm curious what you think about psychics and tarot card readings. I'm trying to determine of what I think about them. I just subbed to Donna. Be sure to tell her I sent you, Susie Q. Satan knows what's been done, and it's what they're getting informed. Months, Kat. Months. Like 8-9 months. What was it? Was it November or December that she did that reading? December, January, February, March, April, May, June. 6-8 months. Yeah. It's crazy. I'll never forget listening to that live and saying out loud, this lady is crazy. This is bullshit. This can't be real. And I turned it off. It felt dirty and sacrilegious and just gross. And then they found them. And I remembered it all came rushing back. And I was like, my God, the woman knew. She knew. And I'll tell you the other thing I always think about the necklace. Do y'all remember when Donna Serafina was doing the reading? You remember she said the necklace came off and it was washed down like into a drain? Do you remember that? I think about that all the time. And I think, has anyone gone into that garage and looked around those drain pipes? I guarantee you that necklace is there. I'm a total believer in Donna Serafina now. All right, everybody. Well, I am going to head over to my friend's channel, allegedly with Brittany J. She is deep into the Sebastian Rogers case. We're dealing with another strange thing with the Sebastian Rogers case. It looks like someone has found, or there was a sighting of Sebastian Rogers, and the woman that he's with in the picture, the person took a picture, the one or several pictures, and the woman that he is with appears to be Seth Rogers' sister. Now, I've been thinking about this, and I thought, okay, wait a minute. We know Christopher Proudfoot, he's on a tear. He's mad. Maybe he leaked out an old picture just to try to muddy the waters and make people think, oh, look, Seth is the one who took Sebastian. It could very well just be an old picture that's being leaked to stir up trouble. So don't get all excited and, because really and truly, Christopher Proudfoot is unhinged. And those of you that watched Web Sleuths, Trisha on Web Sleuths had Seth's PIs on, and then Christopher came up on the panel with Gray Hughes. If y'all watched that, put a 1. I'm just curious how many of you guys saw it. If you have not seen it, wow, you're missing something. You are missing an incredible live. So if you did not see it, you really should go over to Web Sleuths and watch it tonight. It's really something. Okay, so Kathy, you've got to go over and watch it, girl. You have got to go watch it. Christopher Proudfoot is unhinged. He is losing control. Yes, PB and J. Unfortunately, the PB side of the bread is fast asleep. You'll soon be hearing him snore any moment now. Me too, calming the chaos. It's just too much, isn't it? It is very negative. Yeah. No, Christopher Proudfoot is simply out of control. Yeah. Out of control. Yeah, but Kathy, you got to go watch it. It's crazy. I've watched it like 3 times because I couldn't believe my ears how crazy it was. All right. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Special prayers to Suzanne Morphew. Special prayers for her 2 daughters, her sister, her brother, her family, and friends that loved her so much. This is a devastating day for them. It's devastating news. However, it was really, really uplifting because we may just get to see that bastard, the killer, go to prison, whomever he may be. All right. I hope I see you over in Brittany's channel. If you're not going to go listen to Brittany, you got to go watch Web Sleuths with Christopher Proudfoot and the 2 PIs. Oh my gosh, it was off the hook. Please, before you leave, hit the thumbs up. That helps with the algorithm. If you have not subscribed, I hope you will. And remember to click all reminders. Y'all have a good evening. Bye.